There were some leaders in the union, played a, catalytic role in making the union what it became.
Well, you do. You know Margaret Etche, and
Yes.
you know Heather Smith,
Yeah.
David Harrigan. He started out as vice president of UNA, and I think of all the presidents that we've had from all the different areas, and it's interesting. UNA has not had a lot of change in presidents.
No, I know.
We've had 3 or 4, I think. I can't even remember who was the
Before
president.
Margaret. Yeah, there was somebody before Margaret, and I can't remember.
And what's interesting,
I can't even remember that.
Margaret was there when we needed to be militant.
Yes.
We needed to get together, we needed to come together, we needed to tell the government this is what we need, and we had to walk out the door. And she made us walk out the door. And we needed her at that point in time. Once we established that this is UNA and we're going to do what we want to do and you better deal with us, then we needed a softer person. And that's when Heather came in.
Yeah.
And Heather has been there for a very long time. And everybody says, I don't know what's going to happen if Heather ever leaves. There'll be somebody that's going to be there because we're going to need a change. But it is difficult. Of course, you remember the people that you worked with in your local.
Yeah.
But UNA as a history itself, don't have a very cut up. It's been a continuous 1 or 2 presidents. It's just been.
I guess the question I'm driving at is, it seemed to me that Margaret Attier brought with her the message that we are going to be a grassroots union.
Yep.
So if you don't like nurses walking on strike, don't talk to me. Talk to my membership, because it's in their hands.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still today that way. When I've been on the negotiating team, spent 2 years on there. Of course, I went from South District, so I represent this huge area. My members told me what was important. That's what I was there to represent. I had to think of the whole province and everybody, but it was your grassroots that made you go.
Just to give you an example of how democratic this is, and one of the reasons I fell in love with Heather was because she could articulate that. We had a time in the early 90s when we were amalgamating units down here, and we were one of the first places in the province to do that. And we tried to instigate, when we did, transfer agreements, the first transfer agreements, where we actually had reciprocal agreements between different locals of the union to bring our seniority, because our setup was different than a lot of other. We didn't have provincial-wide seniority. We had individual local seniorities, and they weren't transferable, and so you would lose everything if you moved from one hospital to the other. And so we arranged to have all these transfer agreements, and we were the first place to do that. And I put forward a motion in our local to have province-wide seniority, and of course I got voted down, and then I had to go and support at the provincial level, and I had to vote against provincial-wide seniority, which I of course loved and wanted.
Because the members
But my member said, no, you're not going to vote that way.
Yeah.
And so I had to go against it. That was what and how we were run, and still are running to this day.
Yeah.
The members decide what the local president will vote on at these meetings and what they won't, and it's not your own personal agenda.
Everybody's voted, right? If I go to South District and I sit on the board of UNA, I'm voted on by my members down here. I'm not hired by a group. My president is elected by the grassroots. My whole president of UNA is, voted on by the local. It's all members that speak, and you don't have a hiring committee. You don't have anything. And Heather, to this day, is still paid nurses' wages.
Yeah.
She's not paid these huge wages,